Hello, and welcome to Intuitive Journey with Desiree. I am Desiree Holmes, Scherini, your host. And today I have something to share that occurred to me. So I'm just going to start with sort of like a metaphor, a little story. So you and a friend go out for lunch, and you both have the same menu in front of you, and you're deciding what each of you wants. Say one of you is looking at the fish with caper sauce, and the other is looking at the hamburger. Or maybe say there's a third person, and they're looking at the vegetarian option that they don't eat fish and they don't eat meat. And you each choose, and then say the vegetarian says, how can you eat that stuff? How can you eat cow? Uh, oof, I can't bring myself to. Of course, maybe the person who's looking at the meat option might be a little offended or say, well, it's just I'm not you. Okay. Say the person eating the meat turns to the person ordering the fish and says, how do you eat fish? And plus, capers, can't stand capers. And how could you even put that in your mouth? And the person with the fish says, oh, I love capers. It's one of my favorite things. I love fish. I don't eat meat much, so I eat fish. Uh, and then around, to turn to the person with the, you know, vegetarian choice and say, how do you, just only eat vegetables? Like, I couldn't do that. I'm not, like, I'd never do that. It's not my thing. All right. So what? You all get past it. You order your own menu item, you eat, and say somebody says, here, take a bite. Maybe you'll like it. And they're like, no, no, I don't want to bite. Or maybe they take a bite and say, yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah, it's pretty good. Maybe I'll try that sometime. Or absolutely, I wouldn't put that in my mouth. Whatever it might be. So you don't base your whole relationship on what you just ordered off your menu. You wouldn't be sitting there in the first place having lunch together, would you? So the conversation switches from your intolerance or distaste for what other people are ordering off their menu to things you have in common, why you're friends in the first place, what you enjoy, um, whatever it is. Okay? Now, would any of you get up from the table, throw your fork down, and decide you can't be friends with that person because they have different tastes than you, because they eat meat and you don't eat meat? Maybe some of you would, because they're vegetarian and you're not, because somebody likes fish with capers and you can't even imagine putting that in your mouth. Oh gosh, right? Whatever it is, would you get up and end your friendship because you don't like what they're eating, because you don't like their taste, because you don't like their personal choices? So the reason I'm using this metaphor, this story, is because that's what I see happening when it comes to politics. Other things as well, but in particular, politics, as we just go through this cycle again, and this cycle doesn't seem to have ended for several years now, right? It just keeps going. So people have decided they can't be friends, as if it's the most heinous thing in the world that someone else should have a different opinion from theirs, that they should not even be allowed to eat unless they're eating what you think they should eat. I'm sorry, I can't, you can't be allowed to eat because you're not eating what I eat. You're not ordering the same thing off the menu that I'm ordering. Does that happen? It seems that people's fervor, passion, and commitment to their ideology has maybe gone a little too far in many cases, and become intolerance instead of acceptance. that not everybody thinks the same way, and no matter how much you can't stand their choice, it's not going to change their choice. It's not going to change the way they think, and it's not going to be fair to insist that they choose differently by force somehow rather than by conversation. Let's go back to the dinner table, the lunch table. So maybe, like the person who says, okay, I'll take a taste, maybe you explain like what's in the dish, why you like it, and maybe they've never tried it, right? And you say, well, here's why I like it. And, have you ever tried it? And they say, well, no, actually, I've never tried it. I just don't think I'll like it. So having a conversation about why you like it and why they might want to taste it, and then maybe they taste it, maybe they think, oh, that's pretty good, or maybe they're like, oh yeah, I tasted it, it's not for me. Pop back up to politics. If you could have a conversation about why you believe or why you feel a certain way, why you're passionate about your political choice, calmly, without anger, without accusation for the other person, then people could get to know you, understand better, know better what your choice is about instead of accusation, anger. I can't be your friend if you don't think like me. I think people skip too quickly to, well, if you don't agree, then we're done. It's just become very difficult um, to have that communication, that conversation. And I'm repeating myself. I talk like this a lot on a lot of my episodes about, can't we all just get along? Can't we all just have, you don't have to even understand why the person thinks that way, but to accept that you may not, be able to change their mind or entitled to change anyone's mind, and allow people to have their own mind, allow people to have their own thoughts. Maybe you can offer a conversation without being condescending, sorry, but better to come from why I believe this as opposed to you're wrong for believing that. Anyway, I'm not going to go on too much longer, except to ask you to consider, put it into your mind, the metaphor. When you come up against someone who you totally, and I'm saying this because we all have friends that we have differences with when it comes to ideology. It's just going to happen. There's going to be the range. There's going to be people way over here, and maybe you've been friends until you start talking about that, and you're like, I can't be your friend. Okay, and maybe that's for the better. If someone doesn't want to be your friend based on that, then let them go, because that's more important than the friendship or communication, and that's fine. This is, a little house cleaning happens sometimes that way, and that's fine. But there are friendships or relationships or, even business or professional relationships where it just doesn't matter. Okay. That shouldn't be something that gets in the way of doing what you need to do, either as friends or in business or professionally or as a group. Whatever it is to find a way to view differences as allowable, as, what, you eat your fish, I'm sticking with my veggies, or, enjoy your hamburger. It doesn't have to mean that you can't all sit at the table together and have a conversation that is above and beyond differences. And I'm actually keeping it short today. That actually was short. I wish you all a beautiful day and friendships, conversation. Thanks for being here. Bye.